In the late 1980s, I envisioned the Lucy Daniels Foundation and the Lucy Daniels Center for Early Childhood as expanding circles of generativity in which those benefited would enrich the world. I can think of no individuals with greater potential to do this than creative adults who recognize their own need for assistance with emotional problems, and young children whose parents are willing to help them develop psychologically. My hope today is that others will join me in supporting these investments in humanity.
She's a best-selling author, a philanthropist, a clinical psychologist. And for nearly 20 years, the Lucy Daniels Foundation has brought together artists, scholars, and mental health professionals to explore creativity through psychoanalysis. Her work has changed lives and is based on very personal experiences.
Because of what I've had to go through and recognizing my feelings and my problems, I'm not controlled by those problems, and that sensitivity, that aliveness, enables me to recognize the pain or the conflicts or what's important to another person in a way I wouldn't be able to if I weren't alive emotionally.
Like sculptor Thomas Sayer, many artists seek Lucy's guidance simply to better understand their own creative process.
Lucy is probably one of the most eccentric people I know, and I mean that as a compliment. She is honest to the point of being shocking at times. When you think about what you're doing, it often becomes much more meaningful and much more personal. And Lucy is one to point to that and say, so what's this digging in the dirt business all about? And you forget what you know, curiously. And Lucy's one who will remind you of what you know, or should know.
For choreographer Robin Harris, Lucy Daniels' teachings led to personal freedoms.
There are 3 teachers who have highly influenced my work and made a significant impact on my process and what the end result of my work is. One teacher taught me about craft, one teacher taught me about content, and I think Lucy went on to teach me how personal that content can be, that I can use myself in my work, and really in all that other work, myself was in there whether I realized it or not.
Peggy Payne, struggling with writer's block while working on her latest fictional, turned to Lucy, the author.
I got sort of spooked one day working on this one. This is feels like the hardest novel I've written, and I'd gotten into some pretty scary material. And I had this book of Lucy's with me, with the woman's voice, a writer's struggle for emotional freedom, which is really the heart of the matter and which is her specialty. And what I did was about once an hour stop and read a few minutes of Lucy's memoir and think, well, if Lucy can do this in nonfiction, surely I can say anything in fiction. And I would go back, write 40 more minutes until I lost my courage again, and then return to Lucy. And it worked. It worked.
Lucy Daniels' work has made it possible for some artists to overcome personal traumas, such as the loss of a loved one. Gail Lowry credits Lucy for a new direction in her work.
Lucy and I have discovered common ground with loss in our lives and loss of expectation and disappointments and this sort of thing.
After working with Lucy to overcome the death of her father, Gail made a trip to his native Scotland, which inspired an exhibit of 6 large-scale paintings.
You may not understand what you're doing at the present, what's coming out, where you're going with it, what territory you're going to end up exploring, but just honoring that process and going forward with it and knowing that it's going to be a good vehicle for self-discovery down the road. She understands the great need that's out there for people to heal and get beyond things that have plagued them and blocked them and kept them restrained.
Lucy Daniels' best-selling novels, nonfiction works, and children's stories have touched hearts and inspired readers young and old. She's also helped her readers to understand their own, sometimes painful, life experiences.
I was afraid to break Mommy's rules. Sit up straight. Do not speak with food in your mouth. Use your napkin. Do not use your fingers. Above all, eat, without complaint, whatever is set before you. So I always obeyed. Mommy was very pretty that night. It made me think about how grown-ups called her beautiful, but also about how horrifying she was when she got mad.
The Lucy Daniels Center for Early Childhood is devoted to the emotional and social well-being of preschoolers. Many of these children face very special challenges.
The important thing about dealing with children, preschoolers especially, is that our most formative experiences happen to us early in life. So that if you can influence a child and their parents at that time, you free them up for a much richer life and much less chance of their being controlled by feelings related to trauma.
So what is the hope for these kids?
My hope for them is that they will go on in life and be open to experience and grow and be creative, whether in art or in living.